And hello, everybody that is catching the archive today. This is your GM in the Great Barrier, broadcasting from the center of your entertainment galaxy. Um, we are here hosting another game of Star Trek Adventures Aegis. We will be playing with the same group as last week. Well, of course, the captain will not be joining us this week, but we will see what other hijinks are going on. And the first and foremost situation that needs to be resolved remains just outside of a storage warehouse here on Alpha Centauri. So let's go back into where we were, and that was just at the exit near this conveyor belt, this sort of loading area that was taking you outside back into the streets of New Samarkand. Now, as you had peered around outside, you were put in a situation of fairly grave concern because you've discovered that more Tellarites are in the area. They appear to have landed at least one of their shuttlecraft outside the area with a fresh squad of Tellarites on approach. There are also two shuttles that are in the air, which means they have effective air support that your phase pistols, or in Ms. Romanov's case, EM44s, are not nearly strong enough to take out. Indeed, it's unlikely any of the particle weapons that could be at your disposal right now are of use. I'm going to allow you the opportunity to say that you have not been spotted just yet as you are looking outside, but it is very clear that this situation could go from bad to worse. Um,
We also had their comm unit, so we could hear their chatter.
oh yes, I had quite forgotten about that. So you have some of those. You have in addition to the outfits which you are wearing, you have your basic gear, and you have some respirators, which allowed you the ability to make it through the warehouse without being exposed to the rapidly dissipating knockout gas, basically, that you created with that one momentum purchase. Let's start by asking an important question here. Who is on point, would you say?
Looking out.
Yes.
Probably
Okay.
tactical.
Yeah, Eula, right?
Uh,
Yeah,
a
I think
smart move.
I think Lambeth is picking up the rear and kind of but
Got-
Eula makes sense for being in front.
Romanov is stripping the armor and stuff for people to put on if that's what we wanted to do.
okay, so she's hanging back a little bit. We'll actually touch on that in a moment here. Let's see. Eula, first you, as you see you have a lot of company outside. What would be your inclination at this point? Aiming to take cover, or would you prefer to make your way back into the building? Or
How
Look
close
over.
are the Tellarites?
They are probably they're probably I'd put it at least maybe 15 to 20 meters away. They dismounted effectively a little ways back. These are slightly shorter fellows, so they are not going to be right on you just yet.
How much time do we have to act?
Uh, you at least have enough time, I'd say, for well, presuming you don't engage them right now, there's at least enough time to um, move back inside, maybe effect a task or two, with some minor actions interspersed in there. I will give you the ability to dis- discuss, try to finalize a plan
Okay.
before the squadron comes in. The Tellarites are not going to breach right away.
Right. In that case, yeah, let's duck back inside then.
Okay. Yeah. Captain Barton will peek around with you as you pass back. He moves back likewise. Good thinking there, Lieutenant. I'll step off the
It's too many
belt.
to take in a straight fight.
EULA options for you to consider, Captain EULA. If we go out dressed as them, if we can close enough to take that grounded shuttle, we might be able to enter it and take it over. That's risky. We can fall back into the facility. That was my thinking, whichever way you want to go.
How big is the this warehouse thing we're in?
How big is it?
I would say it's, without precise dimensions, I would say it is a fair-sized complex. It probably at least encompasses what would be effectively a city block, possibly going into a second. This area is a little more irregular, but it's a lot of smaller disused spaces, or spaces that don't see a lot of primary traffic, essentially.
I grew up on Alpha Centauri. I kind of know a little bit about how the colony, locations are constructed.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a sewer way we could get out of here? Like if we go down, can we access the sewer and crawl out that way?
An interesting idea. I'm going to give you. I'm going to ask you for. I would say ordinarily insight and con, but since this deals a bit with a civil engineering element and you have lived here for a while, I'm going to make this a special case where you may have a focus and
Okay.
you may roll insight and engineering to try to discern whether there's some way to advance through there.
Do you guys want me to spend any momentum on this?
I
This
don't
is a
think we've
potential
got
battle.
any momentum.
No,
We
we
should.
don't right now.
You could give the GM threat for a extra
Yeah.
die.
Don't we get one from just like the player's presence? I thought player's presence generated one momentum per player.
No.
That's how I usually run it for threat, and I only run that rule at the start of an episode, or the adventure that can obviously span
Okay,
multiple
gotcha.
sessions. Yeah.
Okay.
A good question though.
Okay, hold on. I did not roll with a focus on that. I didn't click the focus.
Okay, let me take a quick look here. That would not have helped you much anyway because that one was a 13.
Could I re-roll with the focus?
It would actually be something where this would be appropriate to tap a point of determination, or rather, to tap your values. So, for
I
those
have one.
yep, for those
Always have an exit strategy.
that is
Meaning, first time she was here, she checked the place out.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that is a very good value for something like this. So you can use that point of determination to re-roll as much of the dice pool as you wish. I was also going to say, in terms of the task roll here, or rather, in terms of the difficulty of the task, I think that I could grant success at a 2 for you.
Okay.
So if you can
So
manage.
inside engineering with a focus.
Yep.
Here it is.
All right. That is 2 successes now. So that
Nice.
is enough to know that if you go back just a little ways, there is some sewage elements here, but it's a little bit more confined. However, you might be able to navigate through some of that. There are also crawl spaces that would get you back out to the streets. some of these cargo sections are actually built from the part of this, much of this superstructure indeed is it's indigenously constructed buildings. However, there are some modular components from the original one of the colony ships that came here that is still in place, and that could get you to a safe enough exit.
I have one other suggestion for the group, and this is a question to the GM. So we're kind of on a timer. These guys are going to enter. Could I use this lift system and overload it to maybe block the entrance?
That would prevent them from getting in through that area. However, there is a door here that is unsecured.
Well, if somebody could bar that door, I could jam this lift and will buy us some time.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Barton's going to make a run for it. Ensign, you want to give me a hand?
Roger that.
And I'll start working on the lift. I'll make it to where they can't get in this way. At least we have time.
Okay. So you find one of the unexploded containers here that you think can be moved. It is fairly heavy because of the amount of gas that is compressed in here, as you quickly find out. So the captain runs his hand through his beard a moment. It's like, all right, Ensign, we're going to have to take this nice and carefully. Squat down, use your legs. Don't lift with your back. Let's try to get this in a position. So I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you for a security and fitness roll. Would you prefer to assist on this roll, or would you rather take let the captain be the lead roll on this?
Well, I have a total of 11. Target number 11. So if the captain's better, I'd say let him take lead.
The captain is
If not,
pretty well close there. And I could give him lead by example for this.
perfect. Yeah.
All right. In which case, I will ask you to roll a single d20. And since this is a difficulty 4, the captain, I'm going to pull very slight GM bullshit. I'm going to let him roll 3 dice, but I'm taking a threat for it. So
Is there any way could is there like a little pallet jack or something around this warehouse to move these things?
There may be one, however, the objects are not on a pallet, and the pod, while it is very rotund, it is somewhat flat near the bottom, so it makes it very difficult to properly get something under.
There's no like gravity assist vehicle for warehouses.
Oh, there
I don't know what
probably
those
are.
would be called.
There probably are some grav lifts in the nicer ones, but this place has fallen under a bit of disuse. It's as if
All right.
they've been skimping on resources, and whose fault could that be?
Definitely not Starfleet.
Oh, most assuredly not Starfleet.
It's probably the governor.
Oh. So, with that,
Just saying.
yep.
Uh-oh.
Did the captain roll a complication?
Yep.
Okay. Well then,
Damn it, Captain.
I can have him invoke a relevant value. Since I already gave him a lead by example thing, let's call that follow my lead. I know what I'm doing. It's a very good value. All right, so that'll be 3 successes.
Now it's
Ensign, if you want to roll a fitness and security here.
course.
Oh.
Anything I can do? Maybe not.
I think technically you could invoke determination here. You could also succeed at cost.
Um. Yeah. I guess I'll use a determination.
Okay, what value would you
No,
be invoking here?
nothing Starfleet can't handle.
That'd work. Re-roll the dice there.
Okay. Uh. There we go.
All right, that will be enough to succeed. So the two of you start lugging one of these containers over. Romanov, as that's working, I want you to give me a control and yeah, I will let you give me a control and engineering roll. I'm going to call the difficulty on this one 3 in order to get
Okay.
the machine properly operable on a quick enough time frame.
Okay. And effectively, the goal is merely jam it so that they can't use it as an entrance, or they're going to have to spend time cutting through it. So,
Exactly. Yes.
control engineering.
Yep.
I'm out of determination, so this is just a straight up roll. And you
Yeah.
said you were going to give me a focus. I have electroplasma power systems and reverse engineering. So whichever one you think applies.
Oh, that's
And
for
I have
this.
computer. So if there's a computer control system for the
You know,
for the lift.
I want to say there's some fairly basic computer system that you could tap. So
Excellent.
I will give you that
I'm
focus.
I'm rating 5. I think Spock was like rating 7 or something. Okay, so control engineering with a focus, 2 dice.
Yep. That is 2 successes, so just one shy here. You can either accept that as is, or like I can give you a variable success, or you may, well, let me put it this way. You can elect to succeed at cost, which either creates a narrative complication or allows the GM to take a little bit of threat, or well, I guess the complication would be the same as you don't quite succeed, but maybe get like at least partially to where you wanted.
Huh. If I'm partially to where I wanted, could somebody who's a good shooter, like Shira, like cut some stuff with her, Starfleet issue phaser to just create enough junk in there that they've got to spend some time going through?
I mean, it's a distinct possibility, but it will.
I'll look over at Shira and go, if you can give me a cut there and there, they're going to have trouble getting through this. It wasn't quite what I hoped in terms of a dirty trick.
Okay.
I'll presume then you are just electing to succeed at cost there, which will move the container up very slightly, but the system is going to jam up, or like there's going to be a slight malfunction, so it stops a little bit shy. There's still space for people to get around. They would have to come through single file, but they could do so. They could do so on either end the way that the container is laid out. So you imagine these tracks might just be a little bit higher. They have to come up very slightly. It does create a choke point, but it does mean that people can still cross over. So the captain is going to stumble past this Tellarite here and start saying, "All right, people, where are we at?"
Partial jam, they'll be able to get through on either side, but single file. So it could create a kill zone for you, sir.
The captain slightly winces at the idea.
Let's just call it a stun zone and be more diplomatic.
I'd much prefer that. We still have orders not to try and create much more of an incident, and I'd personally rather not not aggravate the Tellarites much further. Not if there's some way for us to. I don't know if we can salvage the situation diplomatically, but at the very least, if we can do this with as few bodies dropped as possible, then that would be ideal. And this would be the point where I am going to drop a couple of threat. As he says this, the Tellarite behind him, who is not quite stunned, his helmet being just a little more secure than the others, manages just to come to, and he hits the captain from behind with a particle pistol, which that will be enough.
Captain.
The Captain Barton like stumbles forward and drops back onto the container. As this Tellarite here still has it vaguely leveled towards him.
Can I shoot him? The Tellarite, not the captain.
Most certainly, he is.
Although,
He's
no,
in
no, no, the Tellarite.
Oh no! Shira revealed to be secret Mirror Universe agent.
No,
Another.
no, just working secret orders from the Andorra Imperial Guard.
Damn it! Now I have to toss out Epsilon and Gamma, Craig. I'm running out of campaign ideas here.
You're running out of letters as well.
Yes. Anyway, Shira, you may take a shot at the Tellarite. He is currently not prone exactly, but more rested against the wall, basically seated.
Nice. I'll take the minor action to aim and shoot. We should drop the difficulty down to 1, right? Because my
Deadeye marksman.
That's the thing, yeah.
You are correct. So, control and security roll difficulty 1.
Wow.
Ooh.
Thankfully, aim gives me a re-roll.
That is true.
Jesus. There we go. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
I thought that was a difficulty 1 shot.
If we weren't dealing with a building and particle weaponry, I would say you realize the wind drives you off, but no. You're still a little more used to Andorian plasma weaponry, and you make a very minor correction that allows the phase pistol to connect perfectly with the Tellarite, stunning him, and go ahead and roll damage. Yep, that is a non-lethal injury there. All the Tellarites are now stunned, but the captain is also down currently.
Doc, the captain's gonna need your attention.
Oh, right, yeah. How you doing, Captain?
He's kind of bent face down over the container and is unresponsive to your verbal check-in.
Okay, well that's a bad sign to start with. Yeah, do I need to make a medicine roll?
Yes, I suppose. Depending on how you wish to do it, if you want to use your scanner, that will be reason in medicine. If you just want to kind of eyeball it here and like do all the things where you check his other vitals manually, then that would be insight in medicine.
Yeah, let's go insight in medicine. He's very much the manual kind of doctor.
Gotcha. So with your roll there, I will go ahead and say that the captain still has a pulse. He is still breathing. The blast from the pistol did seem to have created a burn, which could suggest it was that it was at a fairly high setting. You don't know necessarily whether it was meant to be a lethal shot or not. However, it is enough of a problem that in all likelihood the captain is at the very least going to be down for the count. He could be in shock. You probably have some medical equipment that could treat this very quickly, although the best case scenario would be getting him back to the Aegis or some sort of hospital as quickly as possible. This is more that, as you would know from the rough and tumble times back on Tau City, I believe.
Vega.
Vega. I mix up the Earth colonies sometimes. But you recall from your times from Vega the handful of times that high-yield particle weapon would be used. If it was intended for lethal attack, there's what some people basically referred to, or at least what later becomes known in Enterprise as a quote-unquote phase pistol infection. If weapons were set to a high enough level, then even a grazing shot might eventually trigger some sort of synaptic collapse, which is something that you very much wish to avoid. That may not be the case with this level of weapon, but you are not precisely sure from an insight check. You only know the captain is. I can tell you this much: the captain still being alive after taking what was a pretty direct hit to the back suggests this wasn't something set high enough to be an intentionally lethal blow, but there's still risks with it.
Yeah. All right. The captain's not looking well, but he'll make it through. But we should probably get him to a hospital or back up to the ship. I can't do much for him here.
Got it.
So, who's in charge with the captain down?
I think that I don't know who is your highest ranking officer. I don't know your chain of command.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't familiarized myself with it all that much either.
I would say, Chief, my opinion, for what it's worth, as your civilian advisor, is Eula's security. She's probably, unless there's, another
Although,
structure you
I
have.
think Patel outranks
Oh, okay.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but-
we're in a combat situation, so tactical would take over for the time being.
I'm also not
And-
present. I'm enjoying soup at the Vulcan compound.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You're having a.
And this is where the camera cuts to me enjoying my plumik soup in the canteen at the Vulcan compound.
Yep. Very well, nearly about to.
Well, whatever we want to do, whoever's in charge, we've got to move. We've got to get into
Okay,
this.
so do we. Romanov, do you know of a way out of here? Does this place have sewer connections at all?
It does. There's something that should get us out to the streets. It ain't going to be pretty, but it's the best I can.
We need to follow. We need to get out of here and get out beyond their cordon because by now they'll have encircled the entire building and possibly neighborhood. So we can get down into those sewers. We'd stand a chance of getting out under
That's
there.
my opinion. Let's roll. We've done everything we can to slow them down. They're going to come through, but they got to come through single file, and they got to assess the situation. So.
Before you go,
Okay, who's going to carry the captain?
I mean, I can carry most of him.
Yeah, and I'll help.
Is there something we can use as a litter?
there
You
is.
did say there were those lifting trolley things.
Yeah, there is a pallet jack around here.
Let's use the pallet jack, and can I find a tarp? So when we get down in the sewer, we can carry him in a tarp?
I'm sure that there would be a tarp around here somewhere, so I will grant you that. Very
Sweet.
likely covering
Grab
the
the
pallet
tarp.
jack for some reason.
And then I need anybody who can give me one of their Starfleet issue phasers, because as we go through places, I'm going to seal behind us, if possible.
Shearer will take the captain's pistol and hand it to Romanov.
Thank you. I'm cleared, of course. Well, I was. I'm trained.
I'm clearing you now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Romanov, you look over the phase pistol. This is a new weapon compared to the EM-44s that Starfleet was using a decade ago when you last served.
Okay.
But it seems like a straightforward weapon.
Okay. I'll just ask Eula any quick questions, But...
It's currently set to stun. You flick this switch, it will go to kill. Keep your finger off that trigger until you intend to use it. Hold it in both hands when you're firing. And for love of God, only point at someone if you intended to put a phaser bolt into them.
Right, I'll stun. Stun is the standing order, and then GM, can I adjust it to make it a cutting tool if I want to seal a door? Like when we get out of here, I can try to seal one of the doors, so at least they got to spend time following us.
Hmm. I'll say that your best guess on that would be that it would, since you've observed that it appears to be a sustained particle beam that um, connects or sustains itself based on how long the trigger is active. It does occur to you that a high setting be enough to might be enough to basically seal the door. So it
Okay.
could well just be a switch and then hold the trigger as you move down the door. You'll obviously have to adjust slightly as you go and as you learn the weapon. Um, but yes, before you guys go, first I did want to clarify. Doc, there is a little bit you can at least do to stabilize him with the equipment you have, I think. Something with a hypo at least. He's not going to probably be talking, but it is something that you can help with, just so that we're clear there. And then I was also going to double check, actually, with you, Romanov, whether you still wanted to try and extract any armor off of anyone before everybody left.
If we feel we have the time, armor is a good thing. So, given the situation, yeah, especially if I can give it to our security person who's going to be doing most of the shooting.
Okay.
So, if I can quickly adjust some armor for her and anybody else who's shooting, because I won't be.
Yep.
I'll just look over at Eula and go, I'm an okay shooter, but I'm going to be sealing ports behind us. So, here's some armor.
I'll
see if any armor fits.
Yeah. So just for the record, from the look of things, the Tellarites technically their suits have some slight dispersive qualities to it, but they're a little more uniform and fabric than actual like body armor over them. About the only like significant coverage that they have appears to be the helmets that they have on them. The Centauri militia do at least have some sort of vest, although it's not terribly clear that they do a whole terrible lot either. And I might say that you could maybe gain a point of resistance.
Is there any
That'll do.
pieces of
I'll take a point of
metal?
resistance.
Is there any pieces of metal or sections of metal that could be used sort of like, just like a portable, cover, like if somebody could carry it? That way they've got a little bit of cover if they're shooting behind us, or is there nothing like that around?
I mean, there are probably things that you could carry like that could absorb some blast from a particle weapon. However, they are likely very heavy, would require multiple people to do so, and likely from a direction that would be difficult to. People carrying it might be exposed as a result of it.
Yeah, not worth it. We want to move fast.
Yeah.
This is the best I can do from an engineering standpoint of view. We need to get down to those sewers.
Okay, lead on, Romanov.
Bring your rebreathers just in case. It's not going to be pretty. Okay, lead them to the sewers, and any door we go through, I quickly seal behind us.
Okay. So the group of you start moving. Conley and Lambeth managed to get the captain situated on a very slightly jury-rigged pallet jack in order to start dragging along the unconscious captain, groaning slightly with the occasional pitch as he has suffered a non-lethal injury. Eula taking the fore with one of the I presume, did you take just one of the Alpha Centauri guards' vests?
Yeah, I took one of the militia's vests.
Okay. So that will give you at least a little bit of supplemental protection. And Romanov, you are carrying up the rear. So, as the...
Hey,
go ahead, please.
I'm going to take, if there's a vest available, I'll take that, and I'll grab one of the helmets, just in case things get bad.
All right. The helmet, as you take a peer into it, you actually do get you hear little bits of static and audio coming through.
We've got their comm. As we're heading out, I'll just look over at Eula. There's active comm in these helmets.
Right. Tell us what they're saying.
Listen in. I'll put the helmet on. This is worth it.
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong as well, but Conley, didn't you also have? I can't remember actually.
Yeah,
What is it
you'd
that?
have grabbed a little, grabbed a comm device or something
Was it one
from
of
them.
the Centauri militia or the Tellarites?
It would have been a Tellarite.
Okay.
If we can get a comm from the militia, that would be great too. If we have the time.
Yes, yes. So, the you are getting some scattered reports coming through. The Tellarite squad outside is preparing to breach, but they also they seem to be complaining that they were hoping the Centauri would have more officers in the area before they did so, but they will nonetheless prepare for it and try to find out what happened to their response squad. The shuttles are warning them to keep to remain as try to remain as safe as possible, and advising them that there is the possibility of there's a possibility of significant significant human presence there. They're uncertain of the exact scale of the threat, as it were. Also, that any prisoners they could take have been asked to be taken specifically to a Captain Dagrish.
I'm sharing everything report-wise. Is there anybody that thinks they could get on the comm and bullshit the militia we were exiting through another entrance or exit? That's our question to other players.
Who has what would that be, like a presence?
Presence
Command?
which that's not me.
Yeah,
I'm only 11 on that.
I've only got 11.
I got a 12.
A fair bit better.
Also, if we go live on the comm, it might give away our position
Yeah.
if they
Yeah,
figure
it would.
it out.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm 13 on presence command.
We can always pull it as a last-minute move once they have us pinned down.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that doesn't happen.
Let's head to the sewer.
Let's go.
All right. As you start making your way there, and as Romanov closes the door behind you to leave the warehouse, and starts using the phase pistol to seal the door behind you, we zoom in as the phaser bolt begins to weld the door shut. And we pull out, transition to a scene at a building of a building partly of human architecture, but mostly with considerable Vulcan influence. And we have entered the. We do indeed follow up with one Lieutenant Commander Patel, who is currently in the Vulcan diplomatic mission. You make your way past several people. It seems as though there are some concerned Vulcans and humans alike that have taken positions, or rather, have taken refuge here. Mostly a lot of, as far as the visible concern goes, of course, that would be tied to the humans. The Vulcans probably saw it as most logical that the Tellarites would not risk a diplomatic incident with Vulcan by attacking their citizens here. Nonetheless, there's a lot of from your human colleagues, or from fellow humans, there's a significant bit of anxiety as people are trying to find some way off world or otherwise discuss the matter. But yes, you are seated in the atrium where Soldan has given you the ability to sit down by a computer. Some of the humans may have given you very passing notice, but because of your scholarly dress, they largely pay you no mind. They have their own problems.
So the room, it's like it's much fuller than in this image, right? Like I imagine it's sort of chaotic and like people are like shoving their way in or something, or is it
There,
like
it's maybe slightly more full than depicted here, but the Vulcans are at least fairly good at crowd control. They probably, you would suspect that there are probably a considerable number of humans here, but that being effectively a consular office, there are probably other areas where, if some humans decided they wanted to just try to file for asylum with the Vulcans, then some of their cases might be in other areas. There might be embassy workers that are elsewhere. There's possibly some overflow areas. Um, you would have noticed in the vehicle that you managed to take here, which thankfully, because of the diplomatic presence that you have, first and foremost, it seems that your vehicle was able to escape any cordon that the Tellarites were establishing. Soldan and his crew were very efficient on that matter. But that has allowed you to bypass the checkpoints as well. They figured any human presence that might be with you would simply pertain to embassy work. So there's probably a little bit of a Vulcan security staff on the perimeter, and likely some gates as well, just to maintain flows of people to and from. But suffice to say, a number of humans have been allowed inside. So it's busy, but it's not quite the level of absolute chaos.
got it? So refreshing for me, real quick, just as a recap, I did watch the archive, like I said. So the goal here, or I guess what Soldan offered us, was access to his working comm frequency to get a message out, and we were going to determine that I should come along to sort of like hide some information, like nothing super OPSEC, but just some information about like the general situation of the civilians, like how they're handling all this, right?
Precisely, and you might be able to sneak more information in there. You may even be able to relay a hidden message that hopefully the Aegis could discern, and potentially, if Crichton's having a good day, then you might even be able to develop some sort of exploit where you can piggyback a hidden signal between the Aegis and the Vulcans, who, as far as you have learned, now actually have an open comm line in order to broadcast, or they have an open subspace frequency.
Okay. And so when I'm doing this frequency, sorry for the questions, is it targeting Vulcan, or am I targeting the ship directly? And like who's the audience for the message? I assume the consulate has like an open line back to Vulcan, but we're hoping the Aegis picks up on it. Is that where we're going with it?
That could be a way to justify it. You could broadcast on just a general sort of carrier wave, such that we could treat it as we could treat it essentially as a broadcast, something going out in any direction that would be picked up on people knowing to look for the relevant frequencies. Tell you what, I will give you this. Soldan is looking over the work as you attempt to determine where to broadcast, and he begins immediately supplying you some coordinates. Something that is maybe about just shy of, I would say, a light year away from Alpha Centauri. It is
So
not
like a Vulcan listening beacon or something maybe,
uh,
or
something
like a comm relay.
something of the sort. He does not specify.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
These coordinates would be the most efficient course of action.
I look up at Consulate Soldan and just try to analyze his face when he says that. Like, not in a way that requires me to roll, but
Yeah.
does he have a poker face? Does he
Oh,
raise an eyebrow conspiratorially?
you have seen him raise an eyebrow a few times, but he has no mustache to twirl, so far as you can tell.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I will begin formulating a message, like doing the most that I can to sound Vulcan, which shouldn't be that difficult because I'm a scientist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just stating the general disposition of the colony, being very generic because I don't know a whole lot of information, but maybe using some coded language about concerned civilians not storming the Vulcan consulate, but we're pretty busy here because people seem panicked a little bit. Just generally conveying that kind of message. How much momentum do we have sticking around? I don't see the counter anywhere.
That is because you have no momentum at present.
Good. Okay.
This has been a...
Alright, the GM doesn't have any threat either, so, it's all balanced out.
Yep. Of course, I think that it would be easy enough to manage a well, if you wished, you could tap your determination. Of course, you may want to save it depending on what else you plan to do. But as far as preparing the message here and trying to hide some coded information in there, Soldon will look over and say, Your prose is very mildly sloppy, but it almost does pass for Vulcan.
He smiles awkwardly back at the Vulcan and says, I'll take that as a compliment, Consul." Oh god, trying to decide if do I want to burn a determination to give me some momentum, which I can do.
Well, I will tell you what. I should give you some information on the task before you start this. I
Sure.
think that in order to set up this message properly, I think that I would make this a control roll since you are modulating something very precisely, and with with a communication task. Generally, I believe it is engineering that applies. However, I could be talked into. I think I could be talked into science with the proper circumstances, since you may be. I can't remember. No, I don't think you had anything in the vein of sociology or anything of the sort.
I don't, but I was thinking. So my argument for science would be, well, I guess before I make that argument, it's a question: is the role to formulate the message, or is the role for like technically hiding a secret message inside of it?
Hmm. I think that it would make more sense to. It would make more sense to deal with hiding the actual information that you want sent out into the the covert portion of the message, essentially.
Got it. So I can basically, in plain text, to whenever he decodes it, to Mr. Crichton, basically say, "Hey, this is how it actually is."
Mm-hmm.
So going on the piggybacking idea. Okay. Yeah, I don't have a good argument for science on that one then,
Okay.
because that also sounds more engineering-ish to me.
Okay. Then I will make that control and engineering. It will be difficulty 3. However, Soldon will be assisting you as he very tentatively makes adjustments to the more open part of the message, that which it wouldn't necessarily be an issue if somebody were to try and intercept anything.
Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking. So I have Spirit of Discovery, which lets me tap a determination to add 3 to the momentum pool, and then I can walking encyclopedia myself to give myself a focus in subspace communications.
Ooh.
With that momentum.
There's our human science officer.
Yeah. So I'm thinking I'm going to tap the value put me in the field coach, because this is my first, basically my first mission, like away mission as a Starfleet officer, since I didn't go through the academy or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's a little overwhelming for me, this guy who's used to books suddenly being put in the middle of like this hugely political and military conflict. If that's cool with you, then that would allow me to add 3 points of momentum to the pool.
Okay. Who would like to be our designated momentum officer today?
I'll do it.
All right. There you go, Shiara.
Okay. And then, God, I feel so bad. This feels like metagaming, but whatever. I have these traits for a reason, I guess. Great. Then I'm going to use 2 of those momentum immediately to activate my walking encyclopedia. So the way I imagine this working is Patel is sitting at this computer, and he's sweating a little bit because he knows what's at stake on this. The ship needs to know what we know. And he suddenly has some flash of I don't know, inspiration. I imagine, the beautiful mind sequence where all the the numbers and letters are floating in front of him in space. He's visualizing everything. And suddenly the solution pops up in his mind on how to encrypt a message. And yeah, spending 2 momentum immediately in order to gain an additional focus for the remainder of the session due to the breadth of my knowledge. However, any task that focuses that uses that focus increases in complication range by 1, as I am not a true expert. And the focus that I would choose is subspace communications.
Okay, then go ahead and increase your complication range, but you will get to take that focus. Craig, if you care to drop the momentum, please.
And then can I use that last momentum to buy an extra dice?
Sure thing. In that case, I'm just going to recall the momentum.
Great.
Bye, momentum.
Yep.
It was nice having you for 5 seconds.
Yeah, this power combo, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I'm rolling.
All right. And
Oh,
Soldan helps you with the assist.
thank you.
He spots out a few areas where he thinks that you may be mistaken. You must be more careful with some of these errors. I understand that this is a situation of rather high stakes for you, and that humans do have the predilection for for emotion to interfere with their ability to operate. That being said, it is no excuse for sloppiness in these circumstances, and as one I understand to be Starfleet, one would expect that even in these situations you're perhaps slightly more trained for pressure. Or did you? I presume you did not come from the Mako branch, however.
No, I came straight from the university, ambassador or consul.
Soldan actually very slightly raises an eyebrow at this.
That's a story for another time.
Indeed so.
Yeah, I think the way I'm interpreting this is like Patel, like basically the consul is adopting the tut-tutting professor personality back at me. And
Yes.
I'm taking it as in stride. So yeah, I'm gonna embed a message back to Crichton, just telling him basically everything that I know about what's been going on so far, and requesting that he, because I don't know that the captain's out of commission, requesting that he prepare like a package to send to Admiral Gardner or something, with an update.
Yep. The communications should be relayed in fairly short order to your vessel as well as to my government, so that we can discern the next course of action, or at least so that you may do so.
Thank you for the opportunity, Consul. I can't stress how important it is that we defuse this situation.
On that, I believe there is unanimous agreement, the means of which shall be somewhat more interesting.
Cool.
And yeah, Soldan's going to sit back. Tell me, um, Mr. Patel, was it?
If we want to be particular, it's doctor.
Doctor.
But I'm not one to stand on ceremony.
Oh, tell me, Doctor, do you require any refreshment?
I've heard that Vulcan plumik soup is very refreshing and spicy. I haven't eaten all day.
He just.
I'm if we want to do this, great. I was honestly joking with the soup, but if we're rolling with it, that's way fun.
Yep. You get as blank an expression as you would expect at your. I don't think Soldan knows whether you were intending to make a joke of that, or whether you are genuinely unfamiliar. But he will simply say that can be arranged as well, and he will begin to stride off and set about a little bit of work, leaving you amongst some anxious Earthers and probably some anxious Alpha Centaurians as well.
Before, I guess the scene wipes or whatever. Is there any way that I could? Yeah, never mind. I was just thinking maybe I could send like a flash message back to the group or something, like one way, just with a job done.
You do have a communicator on you, so that would be possible. And I would say that you would have enough know-how, particularly with the focus, to properly secure the line before you broadcast.
Okay. Yeah, we just keep it super short. Job's done.
Gotcha. All right. That flash message will wind up hitting the group as you descend. Now, I'm attempting to remember. Were you looking to go through a sewer system or crawl space?
Whichever
think it
one
was-
I think is the best. If I think the Tellurites are unlikely to use the sewer system, then I think that would be the way to go.
I mean,
Yeah, try to use the sewer system to get underneath and beyond the Tellarite cordon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, nobody's terribly likely to go through that. So,
Yeah.
the group of you have managed to descend through essentially a maintenance section and into a sewer area. It is very confined. It's I imagine all of you are having to squat to an extent, and I am not certain whether you would have been able to properly bring down the pallet jack with the captain on it. So
We have the tarp, so that was my thinking. Let's
yes.
put him in the
Yeah. So it is not a fun experience carrying the tarp with the captain right now. As a matter of fact, I'm going to set one more roll on this, but I will lower the difficulty for now. So let's call this for whomever is carrying the captain. Let's call this fitness, and I'll give it a con roll for now, since you are trying to navigate the sewer, as it were. No, fitness and medicine is actually the better fit, since this is more about your personal endurance to A, squat down, and B, be able to have a firm hold on the tarp as you move.
I'll help with the tarp, because I have a focus that I could apply possibly if you'd allow me, which is Susma. Meaning I know how to move my body in unusual ways, and stuff like that.
So I would consider that, except for, as far as I know, when it comes to that particular Vulcan martial art, the emphasis is a great deal, to a great degree, it is more about evasion and sort of tiring out your opponent and then landing decisive blows. I'm not certain it necessarily lends to the prolonged carrying and crouched down
True. Yeah.
sort of issue there.
I-
This would probably be more endurance, survival, possibly composure mixed in.
So it's fitness, and what's the other one you want?
Fitness and medicine, because this is essentially a role for each of you each of you that is helping to carry the captain, trying to move things down, or
Okay, I'm
rather
not
trying to
going to
keep it from hold.
Yeah, somebody else should carry the captain. My fitness is great, but my medicine is only one.
Yeah, I'm assuming 2 of us are carrying it.
Yes,
One at the front, one at the back.
indeed.
The doctor and I.
Yeah, I should probably be one of them.
Yeah, I also have composure or survival as focuses.
Well, I
Survive.
think, yeah, those would apply in this case.
Are we doing 2 individual rolls or
Since you're
1 roll with an assist?
since you're both working to carry the captain, I will allow you to have the single roll with 1 on the assist here.
Okay, who wants to take the lead?
I have a target of 11.
I've got 12, so I guess
Okay.
I'll take the fitness plus medicine, right?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Okay, then.
Ooh.
Well, absent a success there, that is I'm at least going to say that will mean penalties on future rolls, but this is quite difficult here for you, Doctor. Not to say that you haven't transported people in difficult situations before. However, the combination of the slow but steady growing burn in your quads as you have to maintain a squat, the albeit distributed, but still the weight of carrying the captain around with the tarp, and the growing assault against your nostrils as the smell of unrefined sewage starts meeting with starts beating you. All of you were to an extent having to deal with it, but the mix of the problems that your senses are experiencing and the others are going to create some difficulties. I think that well, I can assign some penalties here, but I will allow you to say, I will give you the opportunity first if you wish to either, you can either tap determination if you haven't done that already this session, which I believe that we haven't done with Lambeth just yet.
I think not this session, but I did do it this episode.
Yes. Well, I've been lenient on a session by session basis, so I'm prepared to say if you wish to tap a value and spend a point of determination to re-roll, then that could allow you to bypass it. Alternatively, you could succeed at cost, where I impose a lesser penalty for not succeeding, or you can just accept the penalty I had in mind specifically for this roll.
Do the rebreathers help us at all?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they probably keep out some of the smell then. That would. Okay. They do get rather hot though, as you have them like worn up to your face the whole time. So I'm presuming these are basically the masks that you found to prevent the anesthetic gas from knocking you out. Was that what you were referring to, Romanov?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's undoubtedly that's creating issues of its own, since I would expect that that type of mask is probably blocking off mouth, eyes, and nose. It's probably getting a little bit stuffy.
I should probably succeed at cost.
Eyes and nose
is probably the right move.
It's probably getting a little bit stuffy.
So I'll go with that. What is the cost?
Okay, for that, I will say that in spite of the difficulties with that, you decide to try and tough it out, but you feel a little bit more strain on your muscles. So I'm going to say that you take one additional point of stress for that, just to reflect that you are really feeling you are feeling the lift, as it were. Conley, you will also take a point of stress for that.
Right, so I take 1 point of stress.
Yes. Not enough for an injury, thankfully, but still just
Yeah.
it's a little further along.
Student.
The group moves through the sewers. By your best guess, Romanov, you're probably you're at least under the street right now, making your
I'll
way.
share that. Good news. I think we're under the street at this point.
Let's get some distance then. Let's keep going a couple more streets.
The sewer system opens up very slightly to a setup that is just kind of it's very slightly taller, so it's not as much of a squat, but it's still pretty difficult it's still pretty difficult to navigate. As you make your way down, you find that there are a few very small side tunnels. They are mostly taken up with other pipes, essentially things that lead from particular parts of the sewage system and vent out into the sewers, or some that otherwise snake around a little bit. But you still have just a very slight bit of clearance in order to make your way through. Um, Now, just to check here, who has or let's see, I believe Shira, you had a comm unit that you had acquired from the Tellarites, and then Romanov, you still have a helmet.
Yeah, and I'm listening on that when I can.
Okay. Yeah, since you are also wearing the rebreather, that is probably a little bit complicated, or it might require the occasional swap if you need to do
Yeah,
that.
that's what I do. I just swap every so often. I'll just keep it slung next to me so I can hear, oh, they're talking. And then I give that tactical data to Shula.
Okay. Shira,
You.
I imagine you're working with some sort of hand unit. How often are you checking that?
Um, every so often, when we're not approaching a corner or something, because I want to be nice and cautious when approaching a corner and check to see if it's clear.
Of course, of course. So, the let's see. I will ask one of you to give me an insight and security as you are moving down the tunnel. I'm going to set the difficulty on this task to 1 since you have not had a whole lot of momentum to this point.
Yeah. Well, I figured Eula's doing that, right?
That would make sense. Craig, are you still there?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
What am I rolling?
Insight and security, please.
Insight and security. Does my focus and survival help?
I would say yes, that it would help.
Okay.
Oh, that
Well,
is.
succeeded.
Yep. Narrative or threat on that complication.
Go for it.
Okay, the GM will take 2 threat on that. You take a listen on the hand unit. You have obviously slightly easier access to it. You certainly don't envy Romanov having to tap things out on the like rather having to switch things out and the inevitable smell of waste that comes from that. As you listen in, and the translator takes effect, you pick up you start picking up lines from the Tellarites. Um, this is third squad. We've searched the immediate compound. we've uncovered some signs of our downed squad, a few useless Centauri militia, and otherwise not much of a sign of anything. There's clearly some sort of struggle and a few bits of damage. Cargo containers were uncertain as to exactly when it is, but we aren't seeing any immediate signs here. Rather, our hand units aren't picking up any of them. We're still making our way through the first of the doors, requesting heavier ordnance for this. Um, the shuttle pilot takes a moment to respond. Third squad, we'll send down some equipment for you in order to do that. You're sure you're not picking up any human life signs on your bioscanners? That's correct. They seem to have vacated this side of the building, but we're alerting other bits of the cordon. Anything on your end? We are conducting scans now. Stand by. And so, that does give you some fair warning that the Tellarites are going to attempt to run a sensor scan here.
Could I use, if we have anything close to a tricorder, I forget what the term is in this era, but could I try to jam? Meaning fake, or, either make it to where we're harder to see, or, at least jam their scanning down here, whatever's more,
I would be prepared to give you some sort of EM jamming option. I'm going to say that it is a daring and security roll, and I think that the difficulty for that
Can
is
I assist?
you may
No,
assist.
you should roll and I assist.
Daring and engineering, rather, would be the appropriate thing.
Oh, daring
That's
and
yes.
you should
My apologies. I flubbed that. That was very much what I meant to say there. But yes, anyone may volunteer to assist on that as well. And
I'll assist. I've got good daring and good engineering.
yep, I am going to put 1 point of threat back into that to increase the complication range from 1 to 2 for anyone that rolls.
Okay, adjusted. And given that we're using a tricorder, can I apply my computer's focus?
I don't think tricorders quite count for the computer's focus, because there's a general small equipment type thing that is meant for that.
And there's no electroplasma systems down here. This is all piping for sewage and stuff, right?
Yeah, and I don't believe the tricorders run on a internal plasma system.
No, they don't.
Any of your talents might help.
I have cautious engineering,
which unfortunately requires momentum.
Requires momentum. We don't have any.
I have miracle worker, but that's for extended tasks. Okay, then I've got daring and engineering with 2 dice, and you assisting. You guys want me to roll?
Hey.
Oh boy, yeah, that's.
You did it.
So I believe I set that to difficulty 3, so that is definitely going to earn you back some momentum here.
Momentum.
And that will now lead to so that the base difficulty of a sensor scan was going to be 1 for them in order to try and scan through the area. Combined with your location, I think that the EM work is going to add, since you maxed out on the level of success, I will increase that up to 4 for them now. So they're going to have to roll exceptionally well in order to detect you. That being said, let us see what the Tellarites can do. That's not going to succeed. I'm not going to bother rolling for their shuttle. Yep,
You know your stuff, Romanoff.
the
Okay.
comm line.
Right.
Yep, you get chatter back on it, much to your relief, Shira. Our sensor scans show no signs of human life signs in the within the building. We're attempting to run another scan. Third squad, try to breach and see if you can find any signs of where they could have gone to. Understood.
Those welded doors will slow them down, but they're also a trail for them to follow. So we need to keep going.
Yeah, we gotta move.
Yep. So you clear your way through through a couple more streets. Romanov, you'd recognize that there are some exits that would seem to lead either to some basically sewage maintenance areas, some that might lead back out onto some streets or alleyways where there are more properly paved roads. As it stands now, a lot of the outskirts is it's more dirt roads or like gravel essentially, with the piping kind of laid under them, pending more building of infrastructure in the colony.
Well, if those sewage maintenance areas are a little farther away from this cordon, I would think we'd want to go there. Just whatever exit is farthest away and hopefully not being watched.
Yep. Well, there is one question I would ask. Would you be seeking an exit near would you want to go near the outskirts of the city, or would you prefer to go deeper into the colony?
Deeper.
Deeper.
All right. So there is a small maintenance area that you could access. I dare say even a civil engineering building that vaguely resembles Starfleet Academy.
Could we access the governor's bathroom through these quarters?
Oh dear, oh dear. I don't think that you can play. I don't think that you can play. Gator rising up from the sewers necessarily. I would hesitate at creating a Life of Brian scenario where you phase pistol your way through an ornate marble setup. I'd have to guess there's more security and like.
There's not a direct route from the.
I mean, it all rolls downhill, I suppose, but.
Doesn't it always?
Yep. As you.
Well, my vote is I agree with the Eula. Let's go deeper in and head to that maintenance point.
So, as you. Well, presuming everyone is in agreement, then we can indeed go up that direction.
Yeah, definitely.
How's the captain, Doc?
Doctor, you get the vague sense of some mumbling or groaning as the captain is still unconscious, but he's in rough shape probably. But
All right, Captain, hang on in there.
Don't drop him.
Well, he's moaning. I guess that's a good sign.
I mean, he has an untreated particle wound. That'll do it.
I mean, it's better than him not making noises.
That's true.
Is there anywhere we can stash him, or get him some kind of medical care?
There's the Vulcan, or I don't know. Did the the Independence movement have a place, safe house or something?
I mean, probably, but probably not with the medical facilities we'd need. We really need him back on the Aegis or at a proper hospital.
But we could just drop him off at a hospital ominously.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just sneak out the sewer, just leave him on the doorstep, knock on the door, and then run away.
I mean, probably one of us should go with him. I feel like it's probably a bad idea to just abandon the captain on the side of a road.
No, not on the side of a road, on the side of a hospital.
Yeah, in front of a hospital. It'll be fine. Oh, we should
mean-
probably have the doctor stay with them.
Yeah, I think I should probably stay with him at least until he's in a proper hospital bed, and maybe I can gather up some intel from the hospital if we need any.
Yeah.
Sounds
Or at
good.
least pretend you found him or kind of keep him in within sight.
Yeah, so I guess where the rest of us headed once I'm done dropping off the captain. What's our plan from here?
We don't have much of a plan.
I will allow a very slight adjustment to the narrative and say that this is the moment where you get the flash transmission from Lieutenant Commander Patel. The signal, as you'd be able to pull from the communicator, indicates that he is safe at the Vulcan compound. That he has relayed the message and is like, basically, it seems to have been an alert meant for the captain. It may even have been on his communicator that the message was received. So that at least gives you insight that the lieutenant commander is still up and is in fact safe. It also could give you at least one potential route for whatever
Okay.
it's worth.
I suppose making our way to the Vulcan consulate might be a good idea.
They might have medical there.
They also might have showers there.
That they would. They'll route us to them quite quickly.
They have a very strong
Yes,
sense of
they,
smell.
they,
So.
yeah, very, very strong sense. Yeah, as much as Vulcans annoy me, they're quite clean. So, yeah, Vulcan consulate it is. How do we get there from here?
Is there a section of open sewer area that we could transit from this maintenance point? Maybe there's a map of the sewer system, in which case we could use the sewer system to get closer to the Vulcan consulate.
I don't know, outside of like a records building or perhaps access to like some sort of colony-wide information terminal. There, you know, this ultra futuristic information superhighway that is accessible by electronic device from some locations that can allow you to look up anything from videos of the latest cute Tribble video to old city plans of varying sorts. I imagine that somebody has dreamed of something like that in the future, so you might be able to access that from the sewers. Provided the Wi-Fi signal is good.
Okay. If I can, the maintenance area might have been designed to where you could access it from there because, well, maintenance people would be coming down here. So,
Okay.
is the signal stronger there?
That there is probably a proper computer terminal that you could access there that would give you that too. Yep.
I look over at the rest of the PCs. I think I got this. Control engineering with computers as a focus.
I will give you that. So, just to clarify, Romanov has climbed up through a service ladder to make it up into the facility proper, where, among other things, you are able to quickly locate an access terminal.
You have to pull one momentum off. Well, no, I had a focus. I did not have a focus for that last roll with the communications, right? I
Right.
made a mistake. I did not flick no, so remove one of the momentum that we got.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Well,
I still had yes clicked for a focus when I rolled. I'm so sorry. I work on the other sheet.
that's completely fair. I'll tell you what, let us. I'm going to give you a difficulty 1 roll, and we will call this reason and engineering. And before I strip away any momentum, let's see what you get off that.
Okay. I just wanted to be completely honest. Okay, and I have a focus on this. I have computers. So,
All right, Craig, go ahead and pick that 1 momentum back up, and you get 1 more on top of it. Or I'll just deal out 2 more. There we go.
and on any tricorder that I'm using, I'll just route copies of this data to that tricorder, or the equivalent thereof, data slate or whatever. So
Yep.
we've got a portable version of the plans in case we've got to change our movement as we're going.
Very good idea. I will say for our purposes that you had the opportunity to pick the scanner off of the captain so that you could go ahead and transmit that on a separate frequency, or rather, basically to a networked device with them. You have identified that there is indeed a route through the sewers that would get you very close to the Vulcan compound. It would probably have you come out. There is one location that is a closer exit, but it is along a fairly busy street. There's a slightly further location that would be more of an alleyway type area where you could disengage and find your way to the group, or rather to the compound.
Okay, climb back down and hand it over to Eula's been doing our navigation, right?
I'm not sure about navigating. She's been on point, but that's more of a security thing.
Oh, okay. Well, whoever's navigating, I hand the data slate with the maps.
Perhaps that should be our Wade. Whose name Wade is actually quite apt to consider what we're currently doing.
Sure.
Wait,
I mean, I am carrying the captain.
Well, I'll hold up the data slate so you can read while I'm holding up.
Sure, yeah.
Yep. You squint through.
So what do we need?
Tell you what, to make this as easy as possible, I'll ask for 1 insight and con roll. That will help you read off the map, determine the most efficient way there. I will set the difficulty just because it seems to be a bit of it still seems to be a bit of a long way for the trudging you are going to have to do, and there will be more to that trudging indeed. But I will set the difficulty on that task to 3.
Okay. Could I use a focus of composure or survival?
I think that would apply.
Okay.
Certainly survival, since you are having to rough it.
Okay.
Dice if you want.
Yep,
Yeah, definitely.
You do have momentum to help you.
Yes. Could I use well, let's see here. 1 point for actually, let's do this. Could I add 1 point of threat for another dice?
I will allow that.
And then let's roll.
Using that for bold
Okay.
con.
And shizer. Now, I also have a bold con where I could re-roll a single d20.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
So let's try that.
Okay, re-roll the 1.
Ooh,
And
there we go.
that will give you 3 successes there. I presume you re-rolled the complication, of course.
Yes. Yes,
Excellent.
I sure did.
All right, so you're trying to squint through the through the mask of the rebreather to get a look at this, but it's gotten a bit warmer, things have fogged up. You use your shoulder to momentarily nudge it aside, which does give you a pretty fresh wave of the yet to be refined waste products of the colony in pretty full force. It's very unpleasant, but it does allow you to clear the path before getting to move back. The mask is slightly askance at the moment, but you might be able to move it with your elbow if you're careful enough, or you could politely ask one of the people with a free arm to get it back into place.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it
Little
seems.
help here, people.
Yeah.
Hold the captain while you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll hold the captain.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Romanov
Still
will.
holding the captain.
Yep. Yep.
I just dropped the captain. Oh shit.
Oh dear, that's a little more appropriate than usual, isn't it? In all seriousness, though,
I
the
dropped.
oh no, the captain is fine. The captain is just fine. He has a plasma particle burst wound in his back, but he's okay other than that. Anyway, it seems as though there's indeed a route there. It will take you through a few deeper sections of sewer, which on one hand means that you won't necessarily have to hunch through some of those. Unfortunately, you will be wading through a little bit of the wastewater, having to go through. Going to need to make sure you hold that tarp a little higher.
Yeah. I kind of pull up the tarp so the captain's not, sitting in sludge.
Very good work, Mr. Conley, on navigating.
Okay. Momentary crash for Lieutenant Shira, for our player there. So, whilst that is being worked out, we will. With the success there, I will go ahead and give you that the group of you do indeed make it. I will just give you the trek basically, that you proceed along the route as indicated by Ensign Conley and that Ms. Romanov had uncovered. It is not the most pleasant route, to be sure. The smells, such that anything is getting through the masks, do assail you quite a bit. You also do get some fairly. There's a fair bit of depth to some of the bits of wastewater, that sometimes getting up to waist high. Thankfully, those stretches, though necessary evils, they're actually some shorter stretches, and you are able to find basically concrete footholds at times in order to move a little bit more along the sides, so you aren't completely soaked as a result of that. But yes, with a bit of deft navigation and with Shira on point, you do make it I'd say probably at least somewhere in the order of 45 minutes to an hour passes of careful navigation where you traverse the sewer system. Now, did you want to exit in the slightly further away alley location, or did you want to try and leave near the busier, what could be the busier street area?
I would say farther away. We don't need to draw attention.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, that being the case, once you find the nearest sort of utility ladder, the crew begins getting set up near there to basically open the covering. Romanov, would I be correct to presume that you'd be taking the lead on that?
Yeah, I'll open it.
Okay. The alleyway seems to be fairly empty. Or you'd probably guess that you are about a block or two away from the Vulcan compound from where you've come out.
Okay, get everybody out, and then how do we assess to make it to the Vulcan compound without being seen? Would that be some kind of security assessment?
Yes, that would be insight and security, which, let's see, with Craig momentarily away, I will go ahead and
Should we also contact Patel and notify him that we're inbound?
you can certainly attempt to do so.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yep.
So maybe they have like a back exit we can get to discreetly.
Well, who would like to try and who would like to try and signal Patel?
I can.
All right. I will go ahead and put a point of threat into that, but it is going to be control and engineering, difficulty 0. Well, yeah, it generally is difficulty 0. So this could either be a momentum task or something that gives a complication. So I'm raising the range back to a 19.
Do you guys want me to roll my it's control and engineering, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm 15.
Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
Okay.
I'm a 13.
Okay. No focus. And
Wait, would Patel know of you?
Patel did get so.
Yeah,
all
that's
of you,
right.
when
yeah.
you were initially
yeah.
brought in, you did get put in a room with Romanov.
Yeah, that works.
okay,
So,
I'm rolling.
I guess once again, Romanov has had a chance to take the communicator off the captain. Just at some point, she looted the body essentially, which is not to say that it is a dead body. But that is
of the captain.
yes, she looted the captain of Starfleet equipment. Patel, back in the compound, you do get what appears to be it's an older Starfleet code from what sudden bit of communication expertise you have, but it still checks out basically.
It's an older code, but it checks out.
Yep.
Memes.
It was the meme.
Okay, I maybe look at my communicator a little perplexed when I see the code popping up, but I'm like, okay, and I flip it open. Go ahead.
I'll hand it to whoever usually communicates and knows these people. So open line.
Yep. Romanov kind of gestures to the lot of you. Shira is a little bit more concerned with peeking out around the alley to get a look at what potential obstacles could be in the area, and she is presently too alert to take note of it. So, Doc Conley, you have got the captain up through the sewer, I'm going to say at this point. If one of you would like to take it, then it is all yours.
Yeah. I'll be like, what rank is Patel?
Lieutenant Commander.
Okay, Lieutenant Commander, we are inbound to the Vulcan embassy. We're about a block away. Could you arrange for discreet entrance? Also, the captain has been injured.
Patel, if we see him, his face goes like white at that because he's the ranking officer now.
Mm-hmm.
And he gulps. And he says, "Understood, Ensign. Yeah, I can arrange something. Let me just speak with our hosts."
Yep.
Standing by.
Is Soldan still like standing near me?
Soldan has been standing right next to you, watching you enjoy your soup.
Council, do you have maybe a more discreet entrance, back door, anything like that?
Ordinarily, I would prefer not to engage with this, but as I see it, this situation requires a fair bit more discretion. May I view your comm device? Or can you give me
Uh,
more specific coordinates for the location of your away team?
If
uh,
I hear that, I would send the coordinates.
it looks like they're coming through now, Council, and I show him I don't give him the communicator, but I show him like a little readout or something.
His eyes dart very quickly back and forth with a great deal of precision. Stand by, and he will step away.
Okay, while he steps away, I go back to my communicator and Ensign, what's the captain's condition?
Unconscious but stable. Particle burn. He's been hit. And I believe the doctor has him stable for now.
Okay, Patel starts sweating. What's the status of the rest of the away team?
We're okay, but a bit ripe. We had to go through the sewers.
Oh dear. Okay, I will have to inform the Vulcans of that. The next chance he comes back and I see him.
Soldan will step back into the room. If you care to follow me, Mr. Patel, your colleagues will be joining us shortly.
Of course. And so I stand up and just making conversation as we walk. I go, hey, do you have any showers or anything at the console as well? Because I think you might want to hold your nose when they come in.
One becomes very adept at that on non-Vulcan worlds, Doctor.
Just thought I'd pass along the courtesy.
He will
Returning the courtesy that you're showing to us.
He will acknowledge this with the slightest of nods.
Okay, I'll relay the information back to the ensign about like which door to go into.
No, it is actually something where he hasn't been. Nothing of the sort has been said regarding a particular door that you're going to approach. Soldan has only told you that that he was making some sort of preparation for the crew to join them. And indeed, as he steps around as he takes you back through a few corner offices, back through a few offices and corridors, he goes to what appears to be a lift, or an enclosed elevator, and he will he'll tap in a code into a console. The utility level will suit our needs here.
Oh, excellent.
Yes. So it drops. There's a very slight drop of what feels like a couple floors from the ground level, and he guides you through an area that seems a slight bit more utilitarian. Possibly a few more components that are more that have more of a ship bearing or more sort of like prefab compartment type designs as opposed to what you're used to seeing.
Just for me and I guess for the audience,
Yes.
Does the architecture of the place match the architecture of the building that we were just in the console? Because you said I think it was a Terran building before. Like, is this? a Vulcan installation now?
This is definitely more of a Vulcan installation. The components are definitely not, or they are less likely to be indigenous components. They are also it hews much more closely to a Vulcan design.
Cool.
And Soldan, he stops in front of another room. Naturally, Doctor, this information, I presume, as the current ranking officer from the sound of the situation, remains confidential. Certainly, as Earth is an ally to Vulcan, we would count on such discretion as well.
I tilt my head in a slightly Vulcan way and say, of course.
Yep.
I understand.
He presses his thumb to a door, and you see something that you were not aware the Vulcans had. But it is fairly unmistakable with the layout of the like somewhat glassy surfaces and the circular compartment. Uh, a terminal with a Vulcan now at the ready and manning the device. As you look into the alcove and the Vulcan begins to operate, it starts to glow. Out in the alleyway, Conley, you've just passed word that that Patel is arranging for some way to get you into the compound, when all of you feel very funny, as if being broken down molecule by molecule, and a curtain of light that seems to envelop your fields of vision. You are all maybe a little bit concerned at first, but the moment for a moment you dematerialize, and your consciousness just can only perceive the light and staticky noise, and as you find yourselves begin to recohere essentially, and look around, you find yourselves in what is unmistakably a transporter pad in a room that appears to be of some Vulcan design, and where Soldan and at least one other officer are standing with Lieutenant Commander Patel.
Yeah, I would say when they, like, as they're rematerializing, they also hear the distorted, sort of incredulous, surprised sounding voice of Commander Patel going, "Oh, you have a matter transporter," going to the console.
Indeed.
Then you see a group of soiled individuals.
If you would, if you would all care to, if you would all care to lower your weapons and holster them, we can arrange for medical care for your captain, and it seems as though it seems that access to some of the other hygiene facilities would be in order as well.
Yeah, well, that would be real helpful. I'm assuming you guys, Vulcans hung out on Earth a bunch, right? So you probably know how humans work medically. I don't need to give you a refresher course on that.
We have competent medical personnel for this, Doctor. Rest assured.
Right, well, I'll leave the captain in your capable hands then.
Just let go of the tarp and let him drop to the floor.
Patel interjects and does say to the console, I would appreciate it, though, if you gave our medical staff updates regularly on the captain's status.
Of course.
And I'm making sure the communicator is shut off on that helmet. I don't want any tracing going on.
Good call.
Indeed not.
I probably would have done that, as soon as we arrived. Click, shut it off.
I will go ahead and give that to you. Anyway, yes, we will cut to a little bit of a time skip later where all of you have the opportunity to do this. I will say, Shira, this whole situation undoubtedly comes to you as a bit of a shock. Um, because Andorian intelligence was also pretty firmly unaware that the Vulcans had access to transporter technology. You might have known the
This
Klingons.
is definitely going in the report back home.
You definitely knew that the Klingons were equipped with it. Humans, of course, you knew were operating it, and probably a few other species, but the Andorians hadn't quite worked it out yet. Tellarites were obviously not there either, and the Vulcans, theoretically, it would have been within their grasp, but they, for whatever reason, never saw a need to use it. Or,
They saw a need to use it now.
yes. So, skipping ahead a ways, you will, of course, have time to refresh and have your clothes relatively cleaned. You will I suspect that they have some sort of in the worst case scenario, they have the Vulcan bathrobe a la the voyage home that all of you can dress in if you so wish. Otherwise, they will simply have your outfits ready to go after a plot appropriate time. Or they may well have something ready for you even as recently as after you've had time to clean up, more or less. Um, and for Dr. Lambeth and Dr. Patel, that is too, you will both have you will be kept up to date on the captain's condition. He is indeed being stabilized. More is being done from here. He's probably not going to be in the best of shape for a little while, but he is at least resting comfortably and could at least be conscious, if not in good fighting state.
But he's like, he can give orders in his state, or is he like drugged up?
At present, he is also drugged up, and he is sleeping some of this off. So command does indeed fall to you right now, Mr. Patel.
Oh boy. Patel is not taking this very well. His very first mission, like 2 weeks after getting a commission, basically.
Mm-hmm.
He calls a staff meeting.
That should work, and I will say that they do insist that you move back up to the main levels, but they will find you a nice office space, albeit one absent any windows, where you are all able to find some very plain chairs and have basically a room to operate in on your own. Soldon will offer to be present if you wish it. However, this is also a Starfleet matter that you are dealing with, so for the sake of plausible deniability, he heavily implies that it would not make sense for him to be there, or that it would be better that you take what you have to him if you need it. That said, you can always he can be present if you wish to ask him questions.
Yeah,
I
I
think-
don't think it'd be logical to include a Vulcan on this meeting.
And I think Patel, in his inexperience, would sort of defer to the general read that he gets in the console. Like the console doesn't want to be in the room, so
Yep,
I'm not going to force it.
gotcha.
Would it be Vulcan culture not to ask to participate in the meeting? Based on my experience with Vulcans?
I mean, for a high command type or any official government representative, that seems it seems consistent with the stodgy Vulcan angle. That being said, while Soldon thus far has claimed that he has no desire to intervene, he has been taking a number of steps here that would certainly seem to risk an intervention.
I'll share that with Mr. Patel. I'm just a civilian helping out, but I have some experience with Vulcans. They won't ask to participate.
Got it. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep it just the group plus Romanov.
Good. It'd be less antagonizing that way.
All right, so we've walked into quite the situation, and he leans in front, like leans forward on the table, and like puts his elbows on the table and clasps his hands together. He's trying. He has all these nervous tics where he's just like fidgeting the entire time. You can tell he's a little bit uncomfortable, more than a little bit. And he says, "The captain's status, I'm assured," and he nods to Dr. Lambeth, hoping for confirmation. Says, he's stable, but he is not in a position to continue to lead the landing party. The plan that we had when we previously split up was that we were going to head to the local press to determine any sort of more information about what's going on. I assume you have maybe discovered some things in the meantime. And out of character, I assume that you guys would have like briefed me a little bit on, we got in a firefight.
Yeah, I think that's all that happened, right?
Yeah, we got in a firefight. Several of us got shot. Mostly the captain got shot. And then we had to go through the sewers to escape.
All right. Well, I'm open to suggestions on how we proceed. We also have a new person who has joined us, and he nods to Romanov.
She nods back. I'll take that data pad and I'll start writing up a report for him. I have a talent. Every meal a banquet, every formation a parade, every paycheck a fortune. So she'll do a quick write-up for you so that you've got something to submit later.
Yeah. It's more...
Romanov was very useful.
Yeah, I'm going to make a mental note to check up on Romanov's record when we get back to the ship, because I really want to know more about them in general.
So, like, do we? I guess the overall objective is still to take in the Governor Slocum, right?
That is the plan that the captain left us with. And so I'm going to assume that that's the orders that we have standing.
We do have a pretty good readout on this data pad, and I'm sure the Vulcans have even better layout of the city. So
I might have an idea forming, sir.
There's no idea too silly, Lieutenant. Please
We can
speak
get
mind.
in contact with the independence movement for them to cause some kind of trouble. Maybe, I don't know, organize a rally / riot / protest somewhere in the city to pull away the all the security, a lot of the security from around the governor's compound. It might give us an easier time trying to slip in. Because one thing we can't do is fight our way in.
Agreed.
I think it's a really good idea. We do have a contact. I have a Dropbox for GM. What was the name of that guy that I've been dealing with? I space cadeted it.
Rigel Kent.
Kent. I have Kent's Dropbox. He's the independence leader here. I've been assisting him.
I very nearly called him Rigel Cadet after you said that.
Right, so assuming we can get up close and personal with the governor, what's our plan for arresting him? And then what do we do with him once we've arrested him?
I think the key here is that we need to establish a legitimate government, or at least a temporary transitionary government that we could work with the independence group. So we have them declare themselves as the rightful government, have them cause a riot, sneak into the compound of the governor, arrest him, and then inform the Tellarites that they now have to deal with the legitimate government. Does that sound about right?
add into the challenge that whatever happens here ideally happens without the loss of blood.
Well,
Indeed.
there's going to be one complication to that. Look, Kent is leading an independence movement, but he does not want this to turn into a hot shooting, or shooting situation. So,
Yeah,
and
a non-violent protest.
Yeah, have to be non-violent protest. Slow come out and all those kind of things. Give us our pay, stop embezzlement, that kind of all those wonderful slogans. I'm sure you'll be able to have a fun time coming up with.
I will say even a non-violent protest isn't risk-free. I've been to my fair share in my time, and there's often bloodshed. So
there is a risk.
Depends on how much of an asshole the cops in charge are, but
well, ideally,
we can't guarantee no bloodshed, even if none of those folks.
Ideally, it's not essentially a real riot or anything. It's if they respond to the protesters with violence, they should be directed to disengage and disappear. We really only need time a distraction to slip in.
Yeah, I mean, if we can convince Kent to set up some kind of distraction, whether that be a protest or like, I don't know, if he feels like blowing something up, just something to get us in, that could work.
Or we could use that fun little transporter thing to beam us into the governor's capital. If the Vulcans would allow us.
I think the Vulcan response would be, we can't possibly do that. That would interfere with eternal matters of blah, blah, blah logic.
Yeah.
Only if we get caught.
Patel.
I mean, yeah, the Vulcans don't necessarily have to know we're using their transporter. I mean,
Indeed.
it could certainly maybe if we beam in somewhere like a storage closet or something in the main building, that will get us past at least the outer guards.
I think the captain would agree with me that we should rely on the Vulcans as little as possible.
I'm going to agree with that too, just as your civilian advisor.
One thought does come to mind, though, and that is going back to something that we had discussed previously about the independence movement on this planet in general being led by a person who's currently in prison in New Zealand. And I'm wondering if we can't use this as a little bit of a carrot on the stick for Mr. Kent. You play along with us, and we'll scratch your back too. Maybe see if we can give them back their leader if the independence of Alpha Centauri happens on terms that are mutually agreeable for both of us.
Indeed, a way to strengthen our relationship between Earth and Alpha Centauri.
Is the so I'm going to go out on a limb and correct me if I'm wrong, GM, but is the I guess the subspace link or whatever that I had with Crichton still something that we can tap into?
I will allow you to send out another burst message, and indeed, Crichton. Let's actually go back to at the risk of another travesty as with last time, a Tony Everyman situation, if you will. Let us take a quick look just to see how that goes. So, very quick cut back to the bridge of the ship for a moment.
It's very empty.
Yes, it is very empty. The tactical officer the relief tactical officer had the con. They are away. It's the Travis and Hoshi situation where they're debating who would actually get to take the con and whether they can fire a torpedo. And during that moment, as they're sorting it out, Crichton sees the burst message relayed from coordinates outside of Alpha Centauri, I wonder if I can do this properly, then I might well be able to actually create a link with might be able to create a link that we can have a more real-time conversation with the crew. And Crichton is very good at that. So I'm going to say the next time you attempt to do so, you find that Crichton will have developed a frequency to exploit the basically to piggyback off the Vulcan signal and allow you the chance to reach out, or like have a direct line to the Aegis.
All right. So what Patel's thinking, and he will relay this in more eloquent terms that I, the player, can currently do in character. What I'm proposing is that we contact the ship again, have Crichton not only pass our information along to Starfleet Command, but ask them in urgent terms to provide us with some kind of guidance or commitment or something related to utilizing Mr. Olit, the Independence leader that's currently in jail on Earth. Apprise them of the situation where the Tellarites have engaged with a dishonest actor who they've installed as a puppet, or who has installed himself with Tellarite help as a puppet leader of Alpha Centauri, and that, in our estimation, the independence of the planet is unavoidable. Therefore, it should be done on mutually agreeable terms and not at gunpoint. Please advise. Would be basically what I want to go with.
Okay.
But Patel would also say, especially because he's so inexperienced, this isn't an order from him. I want the input and the advice of all of you, because we are a team.
All right. So we can say then that Patel has laid out the intent behind his message. So basically, to say let's collaborate with the Alpha Centauri's native independence movement. Allow them to separate from Earth, but also take down Slocum and get the Tellarites off-world in the process. Thoughts from our other players?
Yeah, I mean, I think that plan sounds good.
I think it sounds good. I was born here on Alpha Centauri. I think Kent will probably go for that.
Yeah, I think we just need to. We might need to give the Tellarites a bit more incentive to leave, because so far our plan is, as far as I can figure, set up Kent and his people as like a legitimate government of Alpha Centauri, do something to posit them as the right kind of guys. Arrest the governor and make sure he can't be governor anymore and he's not the rightful government, and figure out how to deal with the Tellarites and hope the Tellarites go away.
And my assumption is that the Tellarites, once they're because their occupation force is relatively small, and once they're faced with an actual popular uprising, an actual challenge from the people to their propping up of Mr. Slocum, that they will leave, because they have no appetite for an occupation, is my hunch.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, that sounds like a good hunch. Give him more of a stick than a carrot, and try and force him out of it rather than buying them out of it.
Yeah, and I think a popular uprising is also keeps our hands very clean as Starfleet. Like, we didn't coup this guy; the people did. We just maybe helped him a little bit.
So maybe we arrest the governor, sort of, then hand him over to the popular uprising. Maybe.
So what I'm thinking is we get this contact going with Starfleet, and we get Starfleet or Prime Minister Samuels or whatever to agree to release Olit, and use that as a way to get Kent on our side, and say, yes, we're here to work with you, and with Alpha Centauri. We will help you to arrest the Prime Minister, or sorry, the governor.
I'm pretty sure the admiral has already released the prisoner on from the suggestion of for my suggestion during the meeting, right?
Oh, did he? I don't remember.
He did not release Olite at this point.
Do you mean the admiral didn't listen to an ensign?
The admiral, I'm sure, appreciated your exuberance on initiative, but so far as he was understood, they were not negotiating with Slocum on any grounds and were not prepared to do anything that would be deemed as meeting the Centauri halfway under the circumstances as they knew them.
Right.
Didn't
Going.
I have a question? Didn't Kent, when we met him, agree with the idea that we could take Slocum into custody?
I don't
Or-
believe he was opposed to that.
I don't, and I'll share that. I don't believe Kent is. I don't believe he's opposed to letting us take Slocum into custody.
I guess what my goal is, like, I don't want him to just let us do it. I want him to do his part to help us, like, make our job easier in doing it. Like, I want him to start this riot or whatever he's going to do. Protests, we'll call them.
I would say, as it stands, the governor is Federation employee, which means it would be improper for them to be just given to local government. It would legitimize. What's the word I'm looking for?
Legitimize.
Yeah. If we handed it over to an independent government.
Plus, I think our orders were to bring Slocum back to Earth. And honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think the Alpha Centauri people will care whether Slocum's being tried on Alpha Centauri or on Earth, just so long as he's not in charge anymore.
He seems not to have committed any Alpha Centauri crimes. He seems to have committed Earth crimes.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we've got an issue, it's going to be with the Tellarites. Like, the reason to make this a very legal, very above board arrest is mostly to stop the Tellarites thinking we've done a coup.
Agreed.
Then what if we use the leverage of Kent and Mr. Olite to say this is the legitimate civilian government of the planet who is declaring independence, and Starfleet is exercising its authority to recall its governor because we agree that Alpha Centauri should be independent under the will of the people.
That works.
I mean, I don't think we can officially say as representatives of Starfleet that Alpha Centauri should be independent. I feel
Agreed.
like
Pretty
Yeah,
sure
that-
that would not be. It wouldn't make people from Starfleet happy.
But that's
That's
why
what-
that's why the contact to the admiral is important.
Yeah, I would say that's why we're forming a transitionary government. They may become independent.
Yeah, transitionary government to look into the prospect of further autonomy for the blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
I'm sure there's some
maybe
nice political stuff that you could stick in there if you want.
maybe effective immediately, Prime Minister Samuels, due to string pulling from the admiral, is appointing Mr. Olite Earth governor to Alpha Centauri, and we spread this message to the Centaurians, and they will obviously support it.
One more thought. What if we can get some proper evidence of all the governor's misdemeanors? And if we show that to the Tellarites, maybe we can even get them to pull off the arrest for us.
Well, when we take him, we'll have a few minutes to grab whatever we can. If there's any
That's
computer
good, yeah.
systems, I could bring equipment to drain that stuff.
Perfect.
This is all assuming the admiral goes for this plan.
I'll pull up whatever city maps we have off of our data pad and put it up on whatever screen so that Eula can look at Governor's complex from a security point of view.
I mean, I'm also not sure if it's worth checking in with the Admiral on all of this. This might be the kind of thing that maybe he shouldn't be officially sanctioning, but that maybe we won't get punished for if we do on our own.
It's a good point, but I'm just like, I don't know how far Kent is going to support us without having something concrete in return.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We've got to give Kent something. And if we can get their leader back, then that's a gesture to Alpha Centauri from Earth. showing
Or
that.
we just put him in charge and skip out on their leader and just say we'll release him once this is over.
That's a good way to go.
Do we
I
know
mean,
if he's
maybe
like?
we just play our cards close to our chest, see what we can get out of Kent, and if we
Yeah.
need to offer him the leader, then we can do.
Yeah, offer him scenario 1. Can you give us a distraction? We're going to take Kent into custody, and he's going to be
Slow him
prosecuted.
into custody.
What's that?
Yeah, distract everyone so we can arrest you, please. Okay, thanks.
Exactly.
That sounds like a plan.
Okay, so we backburner calling the admiral, and we talk to Kent first.
Yeah.
And there's maybe even the possibility that Kent's got some people in the governor's office. I imagine he's got there's got to be someone in the governor's office who's friendly with their cause who might be able to help us slip in.
I believe his name was Sean. They were meeting for dinner.
Oh,
Deep pull.
right.
Okay. Do we have Kent's comm frequency or anything, or?
I have a Dropbox for him. So let's compose this and put it into his Dropbox, and then see what he says.
Can we do the whole like putting a message in the Dropbox, like overnight drop or whatever, and do that as like a montage?
I would definitely say there's the opportunity to send a message along to the like to do basically run through the montage. There's dramatic email drafting, message drafting, meetings, conversations, all the good talky things that make Star Trek.
Yeah, maybe like scoping out the offices as well. Setting up some meet and greets with people to get protesty stuff done.
Well, some of that is probably happening elsewhere.
Mm.
Anyway, so as all of that begins to take these things begin to take shape. Meanwhile with the oh geez. Very steadily, the crew begins to get the messages together. You send what you can to Mr. Kent. Oh, and I should say that was Roger Kent and not Rigel Kent. If I've been,
Oh.
I may have been misusing that. It is an R Kent, so you are correct on that. But I may have misused the name a few times at that point. Apologies to everyone involved. So amidst
And
the,
also
go
at the
ahead.
end of the message, whatever code I have, like if he established any kind of like code, I'll put that in there so he knows that I'm here and helping out with this and that this is legit.
Indeed. As all of this is taking shape, excuse me. The consular officer, Soldan, he will take a moment to reconnect with you, Patel. The medical professionals on site inform me that your captain should be expected to not only remain stable, but make a reasonable medical recovery. He will require some rest, although if the situation demanded him to be conscious or cognizant for whatever situations that come next, they do not advise it, but do not strictly forbid the conduct, as it were. I suppose I must ask what these next steps you plan to take will entail, such that it may impact the compound's operation here.
So, Consul, I don't anticipate the need to go against Doctor's orders and wake the captain. I wouldn't want to endanger his well-being. I think our team has things covered. For the moment, as far as the Vulcan compound and your involvement is concerned, I think it might be logical if we didn't involve you as much as possible, just to avoid any diplomatic entanglements. Would you agree? We appreciate all the help you've given us so far, and we wouldn't want to impose on you anymore.
Your restraint is appreciated, and I'm very. I believe my government would certainly prefer it that way.
However, I will. We have your number, just in case, but I don't anticipate needing to request anything further from you.
He furrows his brow very slightly. I will respect that, of course, and I do have some interest in knowing what the future of this planet may look like, Doctor. But
Well, our goal is to maintain the high ideals of Earth, democratic, respecting the will of the people, free.
then we will see how that unfolds. In any case, I thought it pertinent to inform you, as some are undoubtedly becoming aware, the Tellarites have been alerted to potential security issues. They presently have an Ithanite freighter locked down near the starport and have been adjusting their troop deployments. There's a significant presence in the outer cordon, along with Centauri militia that have been deployed out there. Some of this has come from their ships in orbit, however, some of those numbers did also come from their detachment near the capital region. They still have a tight ring in the area, however, this district, of which the embassy compound is of course included, has a diminished guard at present.
Patel takes a moment to process what that actually means, and he simply nods in reply and says, "Thank you for this information."
Indeed. Should you require to depart the compound, then I would only ask you be mindful of what foot patrols do remain in the area.
Consul, would you prefer we leave by the front entrance, or can we use your matter transporter?
Any surveillance that the Tellarites believe they have in place will not be effective. You would be able to depart from the front entrance. At present, the Tellarites are not patrolling there, counting on us to maintain our own guard, which we have done quite effectively. No one has entered that we did not wish to. That being
Excellent.
said, I trust that you will understand the transporter system remains a closely guarded secret.
And we will respect your secrets. And I'll pass that information along to the crew, assuming this didn't all just happen in front of the crew, in which case you guys are more than free to pipe up.
I should ask, does anybody else have anything else they wish to do?
Yeah, just creating maps for, so that we know exactly where we are, weak points, as much information about the governor's building as we can get, so that Eula has the maximum amount of information to plan, a capture.
Yeah, definitely need stuff like the what's it called? Plans of the governor's building place.
Yeah, some recon.
I will tell you what, since we are running out of things to do, I think that the next steps here will probably make that a next session affair. but I will give you the opportunity to roll for some momentum that you can keep into the next session, um, just for a little bit of tactical planning. So that
Okay,
will.
I'd like to do engineering analysis of the building and the surrounding areas, so that, the planning is based off of solid info. And I'll compare that against data that the Vulcans, whatever they're willing to give us, plus the local, internet source that I hit up before.
Could we also tie in our communicators that we stole? Maybe to find some kind of like guard route or whatever.
Mhm.
We do have one of their communicators, the helmet. It's shut off. That could give us an edge.
Yeah, there was also a hand unit that Shira had.
Yeah.
Yes. So, with all of this, let's see. I think that in order to develop a rough working map of the best approach, I'm going to say I think insight and security would be the most sensible role for this, which would probably be a lead for Shira to roll on, and that would also, I think engineering could be a support role mixed with the insight.
Okay. So I'm rolling an assist.
Yes,
So, what am I rolling again?
that will be insight and security.
Insight and security.
Be sure to spend 10 threat.
Well, what I'll do, I'll do bold security and get an extra die.
Spectacular.
There we go. What was the difficulty?
I believe I had not said expressly. I will go ahead and say that with the plans you have here, but without an accurate idea of the precise placement of the Tellarites or internal security that the Centauri might have, I'm going to make this a difficulty of. I will raise this up to 3 just for that, so there's still
Okay.
room
Well,
with the assist and bold. Obviously, lets you reroll the 0.
I'll reroll that 0. There we go.
Okay. So that will
And
meet.
then I'm rolling control and engineering.
No, insight and engineering.
Insight, engineering. 1 die, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the complication range is still 1.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
All right.
Hey,
So that will give you
some momentum.
that'll give you 1 more that will stick with you into the next session. Oh dear, we seem
Good
to have
work.
it split a little bit. Myth, I believe you have a little bit more momentum than you should.
Yeah, that just randomly popped up. I don't know where that came from.
I'm stealing your momentum, and
No
You're
way.
giving it all over the place. Now you've given yourself a mentor.
Yeah.
I have consumed. Anyway, so with all of that, that is going to be it. So that will give you some sense of a rough approach route as you begin putting those maps together. Patel,
After this, Romanoff, I'm going to buy you an entire case of tequila. They come in cases, right?
True. What was that drink I had at the bar?
I believe that was
Shirley
Cochrane's own.
Temple?
Oh yeah,
So rum and coke. Oh no, it was the shot.
It was the one with the umbrellas and the little fruit in it.
Shirley Temple.
Yeah. We'll give you a case of Shirley Temples.
It's very wholesome in Starfleet. I love it.
Delightful, yeah.
Yes, Ensign Connolly is a very sweet, simple boy. But
We'll just fill everything with tequila. He'll be fine.
This
And if
surely
not, then he's
temple
got
doesn't.
a great doctor to look after him.
Yeah, this surely temple doesn't taste right, Doctor.
Oh dear.
No, you're probably drinking it wrong or something.
Oh, listen, I might have some Andorian ale on board the Aegis.
There's a fair chance of that. So, as the day winds down into the evening, there are a few more sounds of booming shuttles in the atmosphere as the Tellarites appear to be sending down at least a few more detachments. You can guess if what Soldan's told you is accurate. They are scattering more to the outer areas. Um, Despite the link with the Aegis, you did send a message relayed to the Vulcans. You are hoping that the Admiral will respond, but nothing comes. Late that night, however, you do get. It is actually Romanov that gets the notification of a message that is
Okay.
marked from Kent. It is an audio
You've
thing,
got
so
mail.
yes.
You've got mail.
There's an audio recording at the ready.
Okay. I'll play it, and unless I think, I'll play it for everybody. I assume it's for everyone.
Okay, so it's as it gets into the dusky hours, you move over, pull it in, and you hear Kent's voice come through. Last message has been understood and acknowledged. I think we can come to an accommodation. I just hope that you're all early risers. So we're getting started at 5 a.m.
Oof.
And that is simply where the message cuts off. But as I understand it, you had communicated your intent to. You'd basically given him the promise potentially of freeing Olite and basically seeking some sort of distraction whilst you move to take care of Governor Slocum. Just to be sure that we are all on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't phrase it as a promise. I would say this is our intention.
Yep. Well then, such that you've been able to give him the commitment. Not Oli, that's the guy you're trying to free. Kent has received that, and he's ready to start his revolution.
One of the things Romanoff wants to do is create a worm program that once we get into the governor's palace, if we need a distraction, I can deploy. So like an invasive program.
We will have to sort that out, I think, next time once we have a better idea of what the systems look like. So I think that, we are. I think for now, though, this is actually a good point to go ahead and stop the session. And when we come back next week, we will be watching how the revolution of Alpha Centauri plays out.
Survived, barely.
You survived the firefight element by not fighting. I'm glad that there was not a Leroy Jenkins impulse amongst you. But anyway, for everybody catching the archive, this is where we are going to cut it. So by all means, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we look forward to catching you next week. If you're ever able to catch it live, you can, of course, check us out on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/GM in the Great Barrier. But until then, we will catch you next week. So I hope you have a good time.